So this, what we used this time as a device for getting questions was Google Moderator. And as of 6 o'clock this evening, there were 49 people that had submitted 39 questions for 400 and voted 458 times. So if you were one of those, thank you very much. So what I'm going to do is really ask some of the questions that got the highest priority in terms of those questions that were submitted. And if you'd like to look at the questions, just go to losaltos2025.org and you'll be able to see the list of questions and the priority of those questions as well. So the first question, and Curtis, we'll start with you this time because you really haven't had sort of a first time in the box, if you will. So what other local revitalized downtowns do you see as role models for Los Altos? What aspects of those towns do you admire and believe are applicable to Los Altos?
I'm reading that, actually. Checked it out beforehand.
Good for you.
There are a number of revitalizations. I've been here since 1981 in the Bay Area, and I've seen it transitions on a few cities. Mountain View, Los Gatos, and Redwood City are a few of them. They have aspects that I'd like to copy. Mountain View has some excellent street dining, for example, that I think would be perfectly appropriate along Main and State Street for our downtowns. But there are some other aspects further away, and I've heard this from other people. I haven't been to Portland, but I understand Portland has a Pioneer Square, for example, downtown, which is very, very people and bicycle friendly. I think that's the kind of a downtown that I'd like to see. One where, if you look at Google Maps from above, you see infrastructure for people, parks, pedestrians, and the buildings. And the parking for cars is inconsequential or on the sides or invisible when you look at it from a satellite view. So those are the kinds of designs I'd like to see. Santa Monica is another example that I think the city should follow, but I haven't been there. I've heard that from other people. For actually selecting which ones would be our role models, there are some processes that we can follow. Redwood City has provided some excellent examples of processes that we would follow, and that's very important for a city council member. For an end result of the vision, I think that there are a number of cities all within California that the council should do tours of, and economic development coordinator should do tours of, and we should pick and choose those aspects and bring them back. And we can pick the best aspects we want for our town.
Val, and then we'll just flip back to Nancy.
During the 33 years that I've lived in Northern California, I've lived in San Francisco, Palo Alto, San Jose, Sausalito, and Big Sur. And I have to tell you, I chose to live in Los Altos 20 years ago because it isn't like other cities. That said, I admire two cities, particularly Los Gatos and Carmel. They have about the same population as we do, and in fact, the Downtown Development Committee toured those cities plus Monterey as part of our process developing the downtown design guidelines. And here's what I love about them. They're low profile, they are beautiful. Their main streets have retained their charm. There's lots of people on the streets. They have a great mix of wonderful restaurants and terrific national chains and unique shops. They have Class A office space and hotels in nearby residential neighborhoods. And dare I say it, Los Gatos has a movie theater, and I'd surely like to bring one back to downtown Los Altos.
Hello. There are a number of cities nearby that we can benchmark. One of the cities that I selected as a potential benchmark is San Bruno. And the reason I selected San Bruno, I've talked about San Bruno with a number of people, they've actually had a visioning process where they got the residents involved. It was community-based visioning. They had a facilitator come in, multi-generational resident participation, and they found out what the residents wanted and how the residents wanted to get where they ended up. It took them about 18 months to be able to go through this process. They developed a specific plan to use to add to their general plan for the city, and there was a cost associated with organizational facilitation. That was charged to developers. The developers paid for that, not the city itself. So bicycle-friendly cities, we should benchmark against pedestrian-friendly cities, cities with what we call complete streets, where streets are designed for all users and not just for motorists. We have a number of opportunities in cities that we can benchmark against. A lot of them are nearby, many of them are not. We need to do a better job of evaluating who we compare to and what we want in the long run.
So going last here does provide some difficulties because many of my cities have been selected already. I think that I'll throw a little mix into this then. I lived in Shanghai for 6 months. While I was living in Shanghai, some of the things that I really appreciated was the amount of bicycle traffic that was found in that city. It's a city of 18 million, and there's more traffic in the bicycle lanes than in the car lanes generally. The public transit in that city is also very impressive, and you can travel throughout that city on public transit. Now, bringing it back to Los Altos, we do not have 18 million people living in our city, but we do have a number of reasons why we should pursue some of the same aspects. Bicycle access allows for residents to stay and shop and dine within the city limits. Going to Mountain View or Palo Alto is getting in the car and driving to a different city. For our downtown, I think that we should look at cities like Los Gatos, San Bruno, and Burlingame for multiple aspects. Los Gatos, I like to bring up, that has small business along Santa Cruz Avenue, and then along the periphery of the downtown, they have underground parking. They have larger shops such as Gap and Chico's on the periphery that help draw the foot traffic. I also like to look at Mountain View, not because the demographics are the same in Mountain View, but because Mountain View brought Fenwick and West into downtown Mountain View, which our own city points to as the reason that they have so much foot traffic during the lunch hour and during the evening. Fenwick and West is over 100 attorneys and their support staff dining in that community. Los Altos is completely lacking that amount of Class A commercial office space in the downtown area. I think that that type of scale of commercial office space is what puts these feet on the street that everybody wants to talk about. That's high density. I work at Cisco, and that's sardines and cubicles, and that's the kind of revitalization that I think our downtown really needs for the feet on the street.
Okay, now we move to really punchy, right? We're back to Bruce, and Mike, it is 1 minute per candidate, right? Jarrett, you'll go first, thanks.
Okay, what I'd like to know is, downtown Los Altos is really been known for decades as being kind of the beauty salon, hair salon capital of the peninsula. And what I'd like to know is what kinds of retail would you like to see in the downtown that's lacking now, and what kinds of stores?
So what kinds of stores that I would like to see in the downtown? I've heard stores such as J. Crew. I've heard Banana Republic. I've heard many residents talk about stores that are these larger chain retailers. I think it's important to remember even a store like the Apple Store would require about 7,000 square feet of retail space, which is not currently offered with our 25-foot store widths on Main and State Street. I'd like to bring those types of stores to our forefront, but it's important to remember that it's not just the city council members' perspective as to what they'd like to shop for in downtown Los Altos. It's our residents that need to be brought into this equation. And also, it's not the city council that can actually grab a specific retailer and pull them into the downtown. The city council has many levers that they can use at their disposal, but grabbing a retailer and putting them in our downtown is not one of their levers.
So I think it's first important to understand that I don't believe we can compete with the malls for selection of retail. We just don't have the physical space to replicate a mall in downtown Los Altos. So then the question becomes, what kinds of selective retailers do we need that best fit our terrific demographics, the high-income families that live in Los Altos? And I think we need to put the cart before the horse. First, we need the large retail space built to modern retail standards to accommodate those retailers, and that's exactly what we're going to get at the First and Main property. The retail space on the first floor is 15,000 square feet. That's enough for 2 or 3 national retailers like an Apple Store, like a Restoration Hardware, like an Anthropology. Pick your favorite demographic and a store there, and maybe a destination retail restaurant as well. That's what we need to do, is build the infrastructure first through zoning, which council can control, and then go out and attract those stores.
We've wrestled over sewers for years, Mike and I, so he still doesn't like me. I'd like to see clothing stores downtown. I'd like to see a bookstore downtown. I'd like to see some electronics stores downtown. Just thinking of the last couple of trips where I had to go somewhere else shopping because I couldn't go downtown. I'd like to see stores downtown that meet my, regular daily service needs, so that I might consider walking or biking to downtown instead of getting in my car and driving to who knows where else I might want to go. I think the city can compete with some of these bigger other spaces and retailing through a coordinated effort between the city and our business districts in actually attracting a number of retailers downtown.
So what's wrong with mature woman shops? We need a theater. We need a bookstore. We need entertainment downtown. Yes, we need to build the infrastructure. We probably need to decide where we want to go before we start to build more. We need to find out what residents want. It's not what I want that matters. I think Jarrett said that. It's not what we want that matters. It's what all of us want that matters. We're paying for it one way or another. And we need to talk about what we want and how we want to get there. But a couple of nail salons is
Okay, Dave, back to you.
Okay. Recology, the trash hauling people want to increase rates from 35% to, in some cases, or in some categories, 104%. Should council approve the proposed rate increases?
Nancy, you want to begin with you? We'll just go up and down the row.
who invited him? You know, I heard that, or actually I read it in the Post, I believe, that the city of Palo Alto's just proposed a rate hike that would increase fees by 33% for curbside trash pickup. What do you do? I don't know what the answer is. But I will tell you something. I don't want to pay any more taxes. I don't want to see my service fees increase. I can't afford it. Yes, this is Los Altos. Yes, it's important that we maintain certain standards and quality of life here, but I don't want to pay for it. I can't. So we need to do something very creative. I don't know what they're going to do in Palo Alto, but it's not a very popular decision, and I don't know how we avoid it, but we need to find a way.
Council has some leverage over this.
Curtis, over to you.
We just updated our, contract, and I don't see any justification for a 35% increase over our current rates for. Yeah, I'm a little taken aback by the question. Mission Trails is going to do some really great work for us in diversions, and so you are talking about Los Altos proposing a garbage rate increase. Yeah. No, mind-boggling given that we went through this contract negotiation for 5 years. I set that up 5 years ago. No, I don't support that, and the City Council has the authority for that.
So as many of you who live in Los Altos know, we have a new garbage contract, a 10-year garbage contract with Mission Trail Waste Systems, replacing Recology, former Los Altos Garbage. We went through an 18-month public process to which you all contributed. Particularly, I want to thank Greentown Los Altos for their contributions to the organics part of the program in many aspects, many environmentally friendly aspects of that contract. Our environmental commission was heavily involved in that process, as well as the city council and, of course, the staff. We've ended up with a contract that I believe it's a 170-page contract. I read it at the time. I can't tell you every detail now, but I think it provides many more services. We're going from a 54% diversion from landfill rate to a 78% diversion from landfill rate. We are offering weekly single-stream recyclable pickup where it used to be every other week. We are getting organics pickup. Beyond yard waste, we are able to pick up compostables every week. This is all going to be, we're in the middle of a big transition now, but I think it's all going to be good when we're done.
So the question is regarding the 35% rate increase to 104% rate increase. This, again, is only for the curbside pickup if you choose to push your garbage can to the curb, which Los Altos has not done for the last 38 years. That is the only time which you would be affected by this. I think that I challenge you to show up to council on October 12th if we have a hearing regarding this. I think that's going to be your time to really make a difference on this rate increase. Our new council will not have the ability to revisit this contract. It's a 10-year contract with the ability to extend for another 3 years. So the chance and the opportunity that you have to voice your opinion about this new rate increase, which only affects, again, if they are picking up your trash from your backyard service, it's going to be on this current council to approve the 35% rate increase, which they've requested. I do believe that we're moving into a new era with our trash, though.
Back to the questions that you submitted through Google Moderator. What do you think will be the impact on businesses in downtown Los Altos when the new Santana Row style mixed-use development is in place at San Antonio and El Camino? How can Los Altos prepare for that and ensure a thriving downtown? I'll start with you.
One thing that I think is really important to remember with this particular question is that Los Altos is not Santana Row. Our demographics are dramatically different. Los Altos cherishes its village character, and I don't believe Santana Row provides that. I believe the proposal for the San Antonio Shopping Center will provide a very unique sense of place for that shopping center, but it is on the other side of the Great El Camino. Many of our residents do not love traveling across that intersection, and I'd love to say that with proper visioning and with proper rezoning, our downtown could provide the destination that our residents are looking for, rather than attending the Santana Row-like shopping center on the other side. So I think that our downtown really is there to provide our community's home.
So I'd like to talk about the broader impacts, that once the San Antonio Shopping Center is redeveloped, it will provide more property tax for our local schools. It will provide more students in our local schools, since there are planned to be, as I understand it, 300 to 400 new residential units built on that property. It will provide more traffic on Los Altos streets as a result of those 300 to 400 new residential units and the students in our schools that will live there. The impacts on downtown, I think, really depend on the specific retailers, the specific restaurants that they are able to attract there, and also, I think, on whether they provide sufficient free parking compared to downtown Los Altos. So for us, I think what we need to do is stay the course. We're on an exciting path for new development, for attracting new retailers and restaurants, and I think we need to stay focused on us and keep a watchful eye on what's happening at San Antonio Center, but I think it's different, and we will survive.
Sadly, it will have so little effect on our downtown because of the lack of retail sales downtown. Also, we have so many specialty shops. You know, Thai Silks, I don't think they're going to open another silk store, for example, at Santana Row. Restaurants, they may draw, but for all the reasons Jarrett gave, I think it will have a remarkably little effect on our downtown. I think, as Val said, we should stay the course. That is, we still need to do community visioning for the type of downtown you want, the types of retail and mix that we want downtown, and actually go and build that out. It's a long-term vision. You put together a long-term plan and execute along that. But it will have some positive benefits for Los Altos. It will actually help the Grand Boulevard project along El Camino. It will help revitalize the Los Altos properties, commercial properties on the other side of El Camino. At the Garden Center, for example, at the Sherwood Triangle, for example, and the Village building next to it as well.
I've wanted to say this all night. a rising tide raises all ships. So I think it will be a good thing. And I think if we prepare ourselves and if we're ready, if we do a little planning, and if we have the right infrastructure in place, we will benefit from that development.
Okay, Dave, over to you. 1 minute questions to the candidates.
Okay, great. What's your opinion of the proposed Civic Center redevelopment project? Too big, not right, too small, and what about the three-story structure? Sure. Can you hear this? What's your... There you go. All right, one more time. Ready? What's your opinion of the Civic Center redevelopment project? Is it too big, about right, too small, and what about the possibility of three-story structures in that neighborhood?
Curtis, you've got the mic. You want to start?
Thank you. I think that project is close, but I don't think it quite has the 50-year vision that it needs. In that sense, it's either the right size or perhaps a little bit too small for the services that we need. And in particular, I think it needs more community services. We have a lot of community groups right now in Hillview and not enough space for them. I would like to see more space for community groups down there. As far as the potential for three-story buildings, that is 18 acres nestled amongst a fair amount of residential. I think tastefully done. I think we can put all of the facilities that we need to within that space. I think it's very, very important that we tie the development there to an extension of our downtown. Those two should look seamless, and though San Antonio can be intimidating for pedestrians, I think we need to find a way for that to tie together so that if you go to the Civic Center, you drop off your kids for swimming lessons there, that you walk across the street and you go to a coffee shop downtown.
Nancy?
I haven't read the plan for the Civic Center development. I've heard a lot of discussion about what people want there. I think that there's still a lot of opportunity for us to make changes in what people want. I think 3 stories is definitely appropriate, and we need to consider it. We need to make sure we do have tie-in between one side of San Antonio and the other to make sure that people can take advantage of downtown while perhaps parking at the Civic Center. So higher is better, I think, within limits.
Val?
So again, the master plan that has been approved for the Civic Center was developed through a public process. There was a 30-member committee, advisory committee, that many of you were on, I see here in the room tonight, that helped develop that. I'm very excited about the Civic Center and what we can do with it. I wish it's a long-term project. It's in 4 phases. It's going to cost a lot of money. We can pay for some of it ourselves. We need to raise money to pay for other parts of it. My only disappointment so far is that the community pool is in phase 2 and not in phase 1 of the 4 phases. I worked hard to make sure that we included our apricot orchard, that will remain not in the same location, but that will be there. Trees are really important to Los Altos, and that honors our heritage. As I understand it, the next step will be for us to see a proposal from the architects for the connectivity to downtown Los Altos. That should be coming forward this quarter, so look for that. Please come and talk to us. And I'm open myself to looking, now that we have new height limits in downtown Los Altos of 45 feet, I'm open to looking at up to 45 feet in that site as well.
The new proposal for the Civic Center provides a number of very important features for our community. I think the redevelopment of our senior center is very important. Los Altos is a community that would like to cater to active aging, helping individuals age in place, helping individuals that are of the baby boomer generation to have an outlet and a facility within our city limits for active aging. I think that the 3-story limit proposed or potentially proposed for this project would reflect what we're seeing, the movement in downtown. Obviously, connecting this facility to the downtown would provide a great day-long activity. It's age-friendly. Having good access between the Civic Center and the downtown provides great benefits to many generations. I think that we should remember to keep many generations in our plan, and the height limits are acceptable for this area, I think.
Chair, thanks.